All right, let's go, people. Pretty excited to make this video. Not gonna lie. Copied the idea from Alex Hormozy, great guy, someone I look up to. It is lessons of 2025, people. Lessons of 2025. Now, I'm excited to make this video. One, because I think it'll be good for me to make it, and two, hopefully you guys can take some value out of the lessons that I've learned. Now, first of all, just going to cover what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to say the lesson, then I'm going to explain what the lesson means or what it is, how I experienced it, and then what I learned from it. That's the basis of what it's going to be. And then I'd also like to, let's just do a little overview of 2025. It's been a big year. Um, Looking to make 2026 bigger, of course. Always growing, always improving. That's the aim of the game. Um, I think that I think that I've encountered some problems, as does everyone in life ever. Um, Overcome the problems, put some goals up, got the goals. I'm very happy for 2025 because it's like probably the big like first year that I've ever said I'm going to do something and then I actually do it, and that thing being like quite a big thing, not just like a say I'm going to do the dishes and then do the dishes kind of thing. Um, so yeah, I'm happy that I've been able to like stay disciplined and consistent and just achieve my goals. Pretty simple stuff, but like most people can't do that. And I'm happy to say that I had the discipline and to do that kind of thing. Right, moving on to the lessons because that's what anyone really cares about. First lesson is be yourself unapologetically. Now, what I mean by this is you don't dilute any part of your being when you're around certain people, or you don't do things that you naturally just wouldn't do around certain people or in certain things. So, for example, that could be making jokes when you're not really in the mood or things like that. It could be anything really, like literally be anything. Depends person to person. So for me, that was always like trying to crack jokes and trying to be a funny guy. Um, and I realised that I don't really want to do that. Another thing was I kind of discovered this year that I don't really like loud music. Like when I'm at a party or at a club, and I don't like lots of people, which feels very like tight, and I can't move freely. Um, I don't like really like drinking that much. There we go. There's another one. I don't really like drinking that much. It makes me feel out of control. It's expensive. Um, it makes me feel like shit the next day, no matter how much I drink. Um, yeah. So lots of things that I'm unapologetically myself about that I probably wasn't um, last year. That's what it is. And what I learned from that is you are way happier. Like I'm way happier being completely myself than pretending to not be like the person I actually am. Another thing I would say is you kind of get independence. Weird feeling. It's like you finally control everything that you do because you are just yourself and you don't pretend to be someone that you're not. You don't say things that you don't do. Those kind of things. Like I wouldn't say something that I don't do. Because then I'm not being myself, and that gives me like an imposter like feeling. It's weird. Um, and so yeah, the lesson that I really learned was to be happy, you first of all have to be yourself because, like, trust me, I've done it. Like, long term pretending to be someone that you're not, that doesn't make you happy. Like, I'm telling you like, that's from me to you. I experienced that and it just didn't make me happy. So I can't imagine it would make someone else happy. And that's what a lot of his YouTube channel is about, really. Just me sort of saying like this kind of stuff. And I wouldn't say something that hasn't helped me improve or whatever. Because I kind of got an ethos is like if it improved me, then it could probably improve some of you. Um, Mainly because I'm just like a normal human being. I'm not special, so like the things that have happened to me or I've done aren't special. Um, so yeah, moving on to the second. There's 10, by the way. Moving on to the second lesson, it is sounds very simple, but input equals output. So you put 50% input in, you'll only get 50% output. You don't suddenly get 100% outputs. What that means is if you've got exams coming up, if you only do 50% of the revision that you think you can do, then you can't expect to get A stars. Like you just can't, unless you're like some whiz kid. Like you just can't. Like, it doesn't make like it's just that simple. So if you put in 100%, it'll be unreasonable that you don't see 100% output. It's not like impossible or improbable. There's other factors at play, but it would be unreasonable to not succeed at whatever you put your input into. That can be applied to anything: revision, a business, trading, working, could be anything. Football, any skill, like it's good application to that. And so, yeah, the lesson that I really learned was if you actually really want something, you'll put 100% input into something, and therefore it would be unreasonable that you don't see 100% of the output. But if you know deep down that you aren't putting in 100%, then you just cannot expect that full return at all. It's just like pointless to expect that, and it always leads to like a downfall of some kind of like negativity, or maybe you might be a bit unhappy or whatever, because you've expected a result that you just didn't do enough work for. Um, so yeah, I'm a big believer in, do something to the point in which it's unreasonable that you don't see success. And if you don't see success, then that's unlucky. But it was like it wasn't unreasonable that you had achieved whatever that was. And so yeah, that's the second lesson. I think that's a pretty good one. I'd say actually, if I talk about my experience with this, it really would be working. So I knew that on lots of things I'll talk about actually. So working, I knew the more hours that I worked, the more money I could make per month. The more money I could make per month, the more money I could invest per month. Therefore, the quicker I achieve my goals in the long term, i.e., how big my net worth is or how big my portfolios are. That was one of the first things I realized with trading, that if I want to seriously get into macro trading, etc., I just have to put the work in and learn it. Like I'm gonna feel like a complete newbie, and yes, I did. Now I feel like a bit less of a newbie, but I still feel newbie in the entire thing. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable, not knowing something, and trying to learn it. Like you're gonna feel like a dumbass and that you're stupid. Like that's the entire point. Like when you first started playing football, you sucked ass at playing football. Yeah, you might have an innate ability to play, but at the like when you first start, you shit. Like you suck ass. Apply that to any skill, anything. Like same with learning something. When you don't know something, you feel stupid for not knowing it, and then when you learn it, you feel knowledgeable that you know it. it it's just simple shit. Um, and so yeah, it was a big wake up for me in terms of the macro, that if I wanted to get better, then I would have to learn and put myself in an uncomfortable situation. And if I applied myself 100% in that uncomfortable situation, I'll make progress way quicker. And so that's the aim. Get to my goals as fast as possible, run at it like violently, run at the brick wall is your goal, right? And I say, like, don't try and find some crafty electric elevator to get you over the wall, because that's going to inevitably take you longer than if you just ran at the wall with a stick of dynamite and just blew the wall up. Like if you're violent with your work and you're violently trying to get better, pardon me, then you're gonna get to your goals quicker, and you might fail quicker, and that's a good thing because failing. I want to talk about this as well. Failing is learning. So the more you learn, the quicker everything gets. And so yeah, that was big lesson in 2025. Thirdly, again, a lot of these are very simple, but I think like some of these things are overlooked because I just never really thought about. Like I just never really thought about these things until I ever heard it or thought about it. Right, third one. The longer you do something while trying to get better at it, the better you'll be. Right? Again, very simple, makes complete sense, just common sense, right? But just I never thought about it. Literally, again, like using football, if you train continuously since you were 5, like let's say like your average like kid like me, I played rugby, I played football, and I trained once a week or twice a week, and I played on the weekends. You get better at it if you try and get better at it for a long period of time. And if you put something on a long time frame, again, I'll get into this. If you put something and you do something for a long period of time, you'll just get better at it. Makes sense. You're trying to get better at it, and you're putting it on a long time frame, so you're just going to get better. Makes complete sense. And so where I learned that really this year was with trading, with investing, with working. Like so for Cleans, I know that if I work there for another 5 years, the business will be substantially more big, and also I have a different job role, and I've learned more skills, and so everything on that time frame. I'm trying to build the business with me. I'm trying to build with the business, and so the longer I keep doing it, the bigger the business will get. So yeah, that was a big one. Same with earning money. The longer you try and earn more money than the base minimum, the more money you'll have. So many different things. Literally apply this to most parts of your life. And so yeah, That's a big lesson. The longer you do something at 100% input, the quicker you'll get to your goals, especially if you put it on a long time frame. Now this comes nicely into the fourth, which is everything is a hell of a lot more chill on the high time frame. Now, what I mean by this on the high time frame is placing your goals on a high time frame, doing everything in the means basically of not getting rewarded instantly, but getting rewarded later for harder, like longer periods of work. It's kind of called delayed gratification. It's a good thing to try and like just slowly start getting into, and then it's like a tolerance, and so the longer you do it, the longer that time frame is, it's you build that almost skill kind of. But yeah, everything's a hell of a lot more chill in the high time frame. You're not constantly stressing about X, Y, and Z. And I always used to stress about, whether I'm gonna have, all of like the money for petrol or diesel or for food or for anything. And I don't like stress about that like at all, really. Maybe like once if I like put myself in a situation where I'd like over invested and so now it's like had no cash like whatsoever. And obviously I'm not gonna liquidate my holdings just to have cash. So it's just like I'm like running that fine balance sometimes. But that only happened once this year, and so yeah. Well, actually, no. Well, it happened like once in the later stages of this year when I finally started like getting decent cash flow in. But like during most of 2025, that was like my life. Like, I was just living paycheck to paycheck. It's like, when am I getting money? 'Cause I got no money, and that was because I was spending like an idiot. Whereas this time, it's not because I'm spending like an idiot. It's because I've overspent on good things, which is a completely different situation to what I was in at the start of the year. And that's something that I'm happy about. I've got problems still exist, but I've got different kinds of problems, and that is again another thing, another thing that I'll cover. And so yeah, everything's a lot chiller in a high time frame. It's just like you can really focus on the things that matter, because you're not stressing about X, Y, and Z, and so everything becomes a lot clearer and a lot better and a lot more chill, and you just feel like life's going well. That's all I can say. Like, put all my goals in a high time frame. Everything I've done is now delayed, so you know, I don't consume on social media. I produce like this. I don't really watch TikTok. I only watch YouTube videos pretty much and a bit of Netflix here and there if I'm just like dead chilling, doing nothing, which isn't like too common. Um, but yeah, everything's just chill, man. Just please put your shit on a longer time frame and just get after it instead of trying to rush and think that something good comes quickly when it just doesn't. Nothing good in this life is easy or comes quickly. That's why the whole essence of like quick, easy money is so oversold. Because everyone loves that idea, but it's just not true. Like fundamentally, it's nothing lasting comes quickly. And so this is a good lesson that I learned actually. Learn from your mistakes and they'll become lessons. Don't learn from your mistakes and they stay errors forever. So yeah, that's quite a big one. So if you make a mistake and you don't learn from that mistake after a couple times of doing it, they will forever remain errors unless you learn from it. Obviously, you can ignore something and then come back to it down the line and then learn from it, and then it turns into a lesson. But it was an error for all that time. And so where I kind of experienced this is definitely the input equals output. I was a very lazy person. Um, and so what other things do I learn it from? Especially on a trading side of it, taking losses, um, learning from the losses instead of just being ignorant and blaming it on price action or that it was I was unlucky or whatever. Just taking accountability is one of the ways to learn from mistakes. And I've learned a lot from many. Like I've made many mistakes this year, but I've learned from them all. And the ones I haven't, I'm sure that I will learn very quickly because I think about my mistakes a lot. I don't like to think about the past, but I only like to think about what I could have done better, or I don't know. I don't like to think what could have been, but it depends on the situation. I don't tend to think like that on like an interpersonal relationship level, but in terms of like my actions and my goals, then yeah, I certainly think about that because then that helps gives me guidance in the future for the decisions if I encounter a similar kind of issue. So let's say I encounter a problem and I overcome it, but very slowly or something like that. I can learn and think, okay, well, how could I have overcome this quicker? And then I get the same problem down the line and I know how to do it um, better, basically. It's a bit like that. And so yeah, that was a huge learning curve for me this year. Is that if you don't learn from your mistakes, they just remain mistakes. They remain errors until you learn from them. That's again pretty simple. Nothing here is complicated whatsoever. It helped me. It might help you. Bosh. Moving on to the next one. Resilience is defined by how quickly you can return to baseline behavior. This is a big one. This is a really big one because once I realized this, I was like, I can actually like control how quickly I return to baseline behavior. So for me, a big one this year was hmm, let's think about a good one that I can use. Okay, I've got a good one. I got two actually. So the first one is me blowing my funded account trading. This was big for me because I thought I'd gotten to a point where I was like, I can actually pass an account and get a payout. And so therefore, and I realize now I've learned from it that I shouldn't do this, but I kind of planned out the future for my funders, like assuming that I passed. And I don't think I should have done that because it made me too like greedy and eager to pass when actually, and so therefore I took trades I shouldn't have and risked more than I shouldn't have. And so yeah. Second one would be breaking up with my girlfriend. Actually, to be fair, I'll be open and public about this because I don't really care. It's not like an internal part of my life anymore. But broke up with my girlfriend and felt very like don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I know what like I would like to do, but what the fuck? Like what do I do? Because like that's just someone I spent a lot of time with, so therefore like I needed to like relearn to enjoy spending time with myself again and get back to doing productive things because I admit I probably wasn't very productive while I was with my girlfriend, and so I needed to basically lock the fuck in, and so I did. But yeah, resilience is defined by how quickly you can return to baseline behavior or better it, and so those things that happened to me, I didn't particularly return to baseline behavior that quickly, not as quickly as I wanted to. Um, but we did, and now I look back on it and I was like, okay, well, how can I return quicker next time that kind of thing happens? And so yeah, I've learned and moved. And what I sort of learned was is that the past is a past, man. Like you can't change the past, and all you can do is live in the present and plan for the future. And so, if the past doesn't actually affect you, but the future does, because like your future affects how you feel, how much money you have, how you look, etc. The only things you can plan are the present and the future. You can't plan the past because it's already happened. Like me just speaking that is the past. Me starting this video 17 minutes ago is the past. I can't change that. All I can do is stop the recording. I can't go back. So why try and like and this is what I was talking about the difference. Like I think yeah, you like could have done this, could have done that only in certain contexts. You have to be like you have to know which kind of context to do it in. So I'd kind of say those kind of contexts, like breaking up with your girlfriend or blowing a funded. Blowing a funded is one that you can look back and learn from the mistakes. And like a relationship is a little bit different. You can only pick out certain things because it depends how the relationship breaks up. And so yeah, I returned to baseline and better. Of course, always trying to get better. It just took longer than I wanted it to, but I know next time these kind of things come around, um, I'll respond better to them, and then the time after that, I'll respond better than I did, and then so forth. And basically, you get more resilient. Another way of getting more resilient, I found, is to do more shit that you don't want to do, bro. Like what you want is on the other side of the hard work that you aren't doing because you don't want to do it. Like trust me, bro. Like I would know. Like I didn't want to do the hard work, and so therefore I wasn't where I wanted to be. But then I realized that I had to if I wanted to, and so therefore I started doing it. Um, right, moving on to the next one. This is a big one for me because I always felt like a bit of an outsider. Being different is okay because most people live the same 90 days on repeat for their whole lives. Now, this is pretty deep, but let's talk about it. So, if you dissect someone's life, and I don't like doing this, but it really helps me sort of, realize certain things. It's like most people live the same 90 days on repeat, but do slightly different things. So, let's say you have an overweight middle aged man who works an almost minimum wage job, doesn't have any kids or wife. He'll come home, and let's say he's doing this for 10 years. He'll come home, he'll have something to eat, watch telly. and he'll do that for 90 days. Let's say it's Netflix. The next 90 days, instead of watching Netflix, he's, I don't know, literally replace that with anything, but anything not productive. And so they do the same spiral over and over again, just in slightly different ways, or maybe they change job, or all of these kind of things. They're the same life on repeat. And so if you don't want to live your same life on repeat for 90 days and you want things to be different, then it's okay. Like, don't feel like an outsider because you want something that most people don't want. That's what I'm getting at here. It's like I want things that most people don't want, or I am a person that most people aren't. But that's okay because most people are the same people at the end of the day. They do the same shit. Like, large portions of the country are obese, overweight. Large portions of the country are in debt, have no money, don't have much freedom. These kind of things. I don't want that, and so that makes me different. Very simple. Makes me a minority. Therefore, it's different to the majority. And so yeah, it's okay. Fucking do whatever they want. Like, you live the life that you prefer. That was a big lesson. You live the life that you prefer, and if you make someone else's opinions impact your life in a way that you don't prefer, then you shouldn't do that because therefore they have power over your life. Like, they do. They have power over your life if you care so much about someone's opinion that it affects how you behave. And that comes back to the be yourself unapologetically. Like, everything's tied in. It's different to be okay because you should be yourself unapologetically, and therefore you are different, and most people do the same shit. That's the same. That's it. That's literally it. Next one is listen and pick apart the lives of people you idolize. Now, I idolize quite a few people, and I've dissected their like ethoses and how they live and things, and I've applied it to my own, and I've seen benefit. So that's why I'm saying, like, if you have an idol, try and like find out things about their life, listen to podcasts about their life, listen to anything, and sort of pick apart the things that they did well and that you could implement. Because I've done that, and it's worked, and it's working, and so you know, do that. Recommend you some people. Depends what you're into. But always, but only take advice from the people whose lives or part of their lives you would want to live. Don't take advice from people whose lives you wouldn't want or want a part of, because otherwise that just makes no sense. That's just pointless advice. Unless obviously, I'm talking about life advice, like life advice about your own life, not about or how you should live your life, not like relationship advice and shit like that. It depends. Again, very dependent. And how I sort of learned this was, well, listen, man, my parents were never particularly like actively supportive of what I do, and they knew I didn't want to go to university, and they were okay with that, but they just wanted me to be happy and for me to be doing something and earning money. Um, and so when I obviously started trading, they obviously thought I was a fucking plonker and that I was going to waste all my money and whatever. Um, I'd always be that kid that tries to make money somehow, and always have schemes and ideas, and I'd always tell my parents, and they'd never see any sort of like result, and that's because I just gave up most of the time, or I just never followed through with it, and so they kind of just thought it was the same thing with trading, and then I think slowly over time they realised that, hold up, this is something he's actually been doing for quite a while. Like, he's obviously probably gotten like better at it. They make that assumption, and I talk differently about it now and than to when I did, and I think they actually realised that you know I'm like okay at trading. I'm not like some complete newbie. And so yeah, I've picked apart the people whose lives I would kind of want, and it's helped me a lot. So maybe it could help you. Now this recording is almost 30 minutes. So I'm gonna try and cap it at 30 minutes and do these last two in about five. Nothing good comes easy. So input equals output. If you put in 100% input, it's probably going to be hard. It won't be easy. So therefore, if you want 100% output, which is obviously good, it won't come easy. Therefore, nothing good comes easy. Pretty simple stuff. Pretty simple stuff. And I learned that through just loads of different things: investing, picking the right place to put my money, um, getting a good job or a job that you enjoy doesn't come easy. Like, I had to work for mine. I had to put the effort in, etc. Just getting anything that you want. Trading takes a long time to be profitable and make money, and you know, really Nothing good comes easy. Last one, last one. Problems don't go away, they just change. When you have money or don't have money, your problems, you still have them. They're just different. That's just it. That's just it. Now, I'm not rich and I'm obviously not poor. Like, I'm not in poverty. So, therefore, my dip, and I was always struggling for money, like, earlier on in the year. My problems have changed. Like, I don't think like that anymore. That was my main problem. That's not my main problem anymore. Problems still there. They're just things that you need to solve. But they never go away. They just change. And so that really is the sum of the video, guys. If you have watched to this point in time, I'm very thankful, very appreciative. Doesn't come across, but I am, because I really appreciate someone listening to me yap for 25 minutes. Um, Hope everyone has a nice Christmas. This is going to be uploaded on the 23rd, so Christmas is in like 2 days. Happy Christmas, everyone. Hope everyone has a good one. Spend your time how you want, with family or going out for meals and that. I think I'm going out for some drinks with some family friends. Got some decent presents going. I'm actually, yeah. To be fair, I do want to talk about this present. I'm gonna have my brother. I'm gonna get my present to him is gonna be two experiences, right? Well, two experiences in a product. So the experience is gonna be right. I'm gonna be like, you need some new shoes, because he does. He needs some new shoes. I'm gonna be like, come to the office and just pick any shoe you want, just any shoe. Can be pre-owned, can be brand new. If it's pre-owned, I'll clean it to when to it looking brand new. You won't know any different. Um, and that's it. And he gets to pick whatever he wants, and that's so sick. And then the other one, I'm gonna take him for a meal. But yeah, it's gonna be sick. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for the next year. I'm very excited for everything I've got planned with YouTube. I think I'm just gonna be sticking to YouTube for now, because it's a hell of a lot easier to just record and upload. And I feel like Instagram's a little bit tacky, and TikTok's definitely tacky and doesn't really target the people that I want to be targeting. The majority of that like platform. YouTube favors long form content nicely, suits me well. It's easy to upload, everything like that. And so yeah, man. Big 2026 loading. Hope there's a big 2026 loading for all of my viewers out here. All of my viewers, are like 20 or 30 or something. But anyway, 20 or 30, man, that I didn't have like a year ago, so I'm gassed. And also, like I said, if you watch to the end, that means that means a hell of a lot, because if my thesis on this is that if one person watches to the end of every video and I make 10 videos, that's 10 people. If I make 100 videos, that's 100 people. And imagine if I filled a room with 10 people who all just listen to me speak, or if I filled a room with 100 people who are all just listening to me speak, that would be so sick. So that's how I view it. And so yeah, man, if you've got any questions, drop them down in the comments. Reach out to me in any way. Snapchat, fx3.f3 or something like that. Check out the Instagram, which is triple underscore fx3 triple underscore. Reach out to me in any way that you want. If you ever get any questions, drop them down in the comments. I'll reply to them all. Um, and yeah, man, have a good Christmas. Have a good New Year's. Don't know when the next video will be. But it's going to be a good one. It's going to be I've got a couple nicely lined up. I had a request for an investing one, and so I may make a video about what I'm in, and obviously it won't be financial advice, but I'm just talking about what I'm in and why I'm in it. And I feel like that'd be a good breakdown for any people that want to start investing. And I do think that's another video that I want to cover, why people should start investing. But yeah, Christmas, have a good time. New Year's, have a good time. Eat the food that you want. Make 2026 your year. Don't make it the same year or the same 90 days over and over again, because that's just boring. And just what, just, like, yeah, just level up, man. You got this. Bosh.